Good evening, televiewers, and welcome to the 7 p.m. English newscast on Info Television. Our top stories. Minister of Territorial Administration Paul Atanganji visited Sopecam and the National Printing Press this September 9, 2025 to inspect the production and packaging of electoral materials for the upcoming elections. And students and pupils in Kambe and Tonga Mantum Division resumed classes on September 8, 2025, marking the start of the 2025-2026 school year. Those were our headlines. Details right ahead. Welcome back, and as you heard in one of our lead stories, the Minister of Territorial Administration Paul Atanganji visited Sopecam and the National Printing Press this September 9, 2025 to inspect the production and packaging of electoral materials for the upcoming presidential election. During the tour, he expressed satisfaction with the work done so far, as you tell us in this report. Patience Shintu.
The loud rumble of printing machines at the Society of Press and Editions of Cameroun, Sopecam, shows that final touches on electoral materials are in full swing. Received by the Director General of Sopecam, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, toured the facility to assess progress and verify that deadlines are being met.
One of the most important components is how to organize elections. And you have the ballot papers, which we can say it's an identification paper for all political parties. So I think that it was important for me to come down for a field trip. I met the general manager, she gave me an explanation, and I think that everything is moving smoothly because we have to cross-check and ascertain that everything is being done normally. So far so good. I think that they did their homework long ago. So far so good. There is nothing to be worried about because we have been doing this exercise, and I think that from what I've seen and all the information given by the general manager of Sopecam, I think we can say so far so good. Things are moving and we are on the track and the right track.
At the National Printing Press, the Director General reported that his team had completed production a week earlier. Speaking after the inspection, Minister Atanganji emphasized the importance of monitoring every stage of the process to ensure smooth execution.
I have visited the National Printing Press, and I think that they have done their job. They have done their homework because the ballot papers and envelopes have been delivered in time. It's important because the ballot papers and the envelopes are essential components of the process. So it's important that Elecam gets them before, at least 2 or 3 months before the process. It's important to anticipate because they had a deadline of 28 days to produce the envelopes and the ballot papers, and they did all this within 18 days.
Reassured by the progress made, the minister noted that preparations are ahead of schedule, bolstering confidence that electoral logistics will be fully in place before voters head to the polls.
The Ministry of Transport and Balafon Media have signed a collaboration framework agreement to advocate meteorology and climate services. The signing took place in the conference room of the ministry this September 9. Agnes Ayok tells us more.
On September 9, 2025, Balafon Media and the Ministry of Transport signed a collaboration framework agreement focused on advancing meteorology and climate services, a convention on the promotion, exchange, and dissemination of meteorological information. The ceremony, which took place in the conference room of the Ministry of Transport, was attended by government officials, the Director General of National Meteorology, representatives from Balafon Media, and various stakeholders committed to enhancing weather and climate resilience.
Notre pays est particulièrement exposé.
Our country is particularly exposed to extreme weather events due to its rich climate diversity. Thus, the nature of climate change and its impacts vary greatly from one region to another, causing drought, floods, and other devastating effects. This vulnerable situation could affect considerably our development if some measures are not adopted and reinforced. According to the Director General of Balafon Media, to popularize meteorological information, communication spaces must be created. The information of weather and climate are of great value. I give an example. If you want to move from one point to another, you need to know when there would be a fall. This allows you to adjust your trip according to the constraints. The Director General of National Meteorology says their work with Balafon will not only be about information, but also education and awareness. Through this collaboration, we will make the information available to Balafon for dissemination to the public. We will work with them on the formats and even the contents of this information. We think with their expertise, we can be better equipped to present information for the better understanding to the population. As climate change increasingly impacts our society, the need for reliable weather forecast and climate services has become essential for various sectors, including transportation.
And let's talk health. When a medical emergency occurs, many individuals may not act swiftly or correctly in administering first aid. Health professionals caution that this delay in response may worsen the victim's condition. Jessica Ndiwum consulted with an expert who provides essential life-saving advice. Let's watch.
Sudden illness can affect anyone, anywhere, but experts say many people are unprepared to administer proper first aid. Health specialists caution that this lack of immediate care often worsens the victim's condition and in severe cases can cost lives. The Cameroon Red Cross has launched awareness efforts emphasizing the importance of learning simple first aid measures such as remaining calm, calling for help, and applying basic care before medical professionals arrive.
Il y a malaise de deux ordres.
There is a disease of two others. There is home disease and there is disease of circulation. When there is a discomfort during a traffic accident, the first thing to do is to put someone in a lateral position of safety. Make sure they breathe. Make sure their heart beats again. If it's a home discomfort, we also have to make sure that the patient is breathing and that he or she hasn't swallowed any worm. We must first call the person to a high and intelligent voice. If he is breathing, the prognosis is good. If he doesn't respond, it's more serious. In these times, always be alert.
C'est sérieux.
Experts also warn that certain common gestures, such as lifting a patient incorrectly, can be dangerous and block breathing.
La deuxième personne peut faire un massage.
If the second person comes in, he or she can do a hard massage. Press on the thorax, put it on a hard plane at that time on the floor, lying on the back to do a hard massage. So press deeply on the left side of the victim. So doing these gestures simultaneously requires help. So if a patient is lying down, we hold his or her head up to the neck to lift him up.
Demande de l'aide.
Health experts also stress the importance of knowing what actions to avoid when assisting the patient, alongside understanding the correct steps to take.
Le plus souvent, j'ai vu des gens.
When someone is sick, we try to put sugar in it, which is bad. You have to avoid making someone swallow anything. Who is not really aware, who does not know what is happening, he or she should not swallow anything, neither water nor oil, because sometimes we try to put oil in the mouth.
Rien dans la bouche.
Basic health knowledge is vital for everyone. Familiarity with simple first aid techniques can prevent accidents, save lives, and contribute to a healthier, safer lifestyle for all.
And on to something else, the World Federation of Drone Construction offered a dinner to the resident representative of EIE Cameroun, Claude Abanda, on September 6, 2025. The aim was for the signing of a partnership in the coming weeks. Mimi Tiobo throws more light.
A significant step towards promoting drones technology in Cameroon was taken on September 6, 2025, when the World Federation of Drone Construction hosted a dinner in Yaoundé. The event, led by President Jing Sayong, aimed to establish a learning center for drone use and construction in Cameroon. The center implementation plan was presented to Claude Abanda, resident representative of IAE Cameroon and holder of the UNESCO Chair of Central Africa Access ICT. This partnership will enable the UNESCO Chair backed by IAE Cameroon to promote engineering amongst young people and women, ultimately leading to the manufacture of high-tech drones by experienced technicians and creators in the audiovisual field. A key outcome of the dinner was an invitation extended to Abanda to attend a workshop in Shanghai, China, where he will sign a partnership agreement between the World Association of Drone Manufacturing and IAE Cameroon. This agreement is expected to further boost drone technology in Cameroon.
Away from that, we talk education as students and pupils in Kambe, Donga-Manton Division resumed classes on September 8, 2025, marking the start of the school year. Administrative authorities taught schools to guarantee a hitch-free reopening, as you tell us in this report, Patience Shintun.
Excitement filled classrooms in Kambe, Donga-Manton Division as students returned on September 8, 2025 for the start of the 2025-2026 school year. Eager and ready to learn, both primary and secondary pupils came prepared and focused, setting a positive tone for the new school season.
I came round to see whether the children with disabilities are in school, whether they have admitted all the children with disabilities, and I'm so glad that I've seen a lot of them here. So many today I have more than 20 children living with special needs. They're in school, and my encouragement to all the parents listening to us this morning is that no child should be kept behind. Whether your child is visually impaired, or your child has problems with hearing, or the child cannot move well, the child cannot talk, bring that child to this IGBPS. This is the place of that child. And all the 5 subdivisions have schools for inclusive education.
To ensure smooth start, administrative authorities taught schools across the division.
His Royal Highness, the Fund of Kambe, has also come. You are welcome. We are glad to see you go.
Their visits focused on monitoring classroom activities, verifying school readiness, and addressing any challenges that could disrupt the reopening. The presence of officials reassured teachers, students, and parents that everything was on track for a successful academic year.
I am very, very happy this morning, especially with the coming of the divisional officer and His Royal Highness, the Fund of Kambe, to IGBPS Kambe. I'm also happy because the turnout of the pupils indicates that the parents of Kambe cherish education.
Authorities emphasized the importance of maintaining a conducive learning environment and encouraged schools to sustain discipline, regular attendance, and active participation from all students. With the coordinated effort of school staff and local administrators, the 2025-2026 school year in Kambe has officially kicked off on a promising and positive tone.
Over 18 million CFA francs has been raised in Manyu division by CPDM supporters and sympathizers. The aim is to secure a resounding landscape victory for President Paul Biya in the upcoming October presidential elections. Details in this report.
Funds were mobilized during a strategic political meeting organized by the CPDM Central Committee Permanent Delegation for Manyu. Headed by Minister Victor Mengot, this initiative reflects a strong show of political will and loyalty within the division, aimed at ensuring President Biya's maintained firm support in Manyu division.
For us to prepare transparent and unambiguous a landslide victory in Manyu, to vote like we've never voted before for President Paul Biya. The message was well planned, where we had the stakeholders of the party base, represented by the section presidents who presented the situation on the ground. Give us an idea of the situation on the ground when it comes to voter registration, collection of cards, organization, and general mobilization. This was very enriching.
The meeting, held in Manfé, the chief town of Manyu, sought to unite the vital political and social forces of the division. It served as a platform to strategize and reinforce transparent campaign mechanism for an overwhelming victory. Attendees include CPDM militant, traditional rulers, and other grassroots leaders from the 4 section of Manyu division. Minister Victor Mengot, who supervised the fundraising, expressed his deep satisfaction with the outcome.
A very learned presentation we received. We heard that grassroots militant, on the contrary, are the important people on the ground who make things happen. And then, of course, we had a presentation on mobilizing resources, human, material, and finances, for us to implement the strategy that we are crafting for Manyu. And the message I gave my brothers is that nobody goes hunting without being prepared with the guns. And to us, the 3 resources necessary, but the most important is the finances.
The meeting concluded with a renewed call for continuous contribution and active participation of all militants. A symbolic handover of the trophy to the winner of the Manyu Unity Tournament, organized by Manfé Council, served as a reminder of the importance of peace, unity, and collective actions ahead of the elections.
CPDM militants in the Mefou-et-Afamba division united at the party hall in the Mefou subdivision, bringing together elites to evaluate activities for the presidential elections. The activity held on September 8, 2025, as you tell us in this report, Phillips Enchi.
In a consultation meeting that brings together militants of the CPDM party in the Mefou-et-Afamba Division Center region at the party hall in the Mefou subdivision on September 8, 2025, presided over by the head of the permanent delegation of the CPDM for the Mefou-et-Afamba Division, Luke Magloambaga Tanganam, aims to evaluate the party activities, develop possible strategies and tactics as the October 12, 2025 presidential election fast approaches. With a massive turnout of militants from all the 8 subdivisions in the division, 100 million francs CFA was raised to support the party's lone candidate, President Paul Biya. The CPDM militants are sparing no odds in creating a level ground for victory in the upcoming polls.
We have one objective, is the re-election of our champion, but the election ultra bright re-election. For the last presidential elections, it was 55 millions. In less than 1 hour, the contribution are 100 millions. In Mefou-et-Afamba division is the militants. We have no business person, just the militants. 100 million, the double of what we have done for the last presidential election. I think that the message is very clear. It means that we are mobilized, we are sure of the election of our champion.
With infrastructural development coupled with an enabling ground for farmers in the division to obtain financial stability thanks to agricultural development, President Paul Biya is undoubtedly the winner of the upcoming polls.
There is no doubt, there is no contestation possible. There is no competition in the Mefou-et-Afamba division because we have just one candidate. In the center region, we have just one word. We have not two. When you have said yes, it's yes. Paul Biya only Paul Biya.
The meeting, which saw the presence of the president of the parliamentary group, Roger Melingi, Senator Sunak Harriet, mayors of the 8 subdivisions in the division, president of the various wings of the party, and party sympathizers proved successful. The militants are confident to maintain their candidate, President Paul Biya, with a 100% victory in the upcoming October 12 presidential elections.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for choosing to stick around with the news on Info Television. A delegation from the Southwest House of Chiefs and the Southwest Conference of Chiefs have received political ties with President Paul Biya ahead of the presidential elections. This was during an audience granted them by the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Gongo. Jude Kenji reports.
They are bearers of a message of peace. Before, during and after the October 12 presidential election, they were received this Friday, September 5th, at the Unity Palace by the Minister of State, Secretary General of the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, acting on behalf of the Head of State, Paul Biya. A favorable atmosphere to pass on their message.
It's a very simple message. Mr. President, Your Excellency, President Paul Biya, you are our candidate. We give you all the support. Come the presidential elections of 12 October.
The audience also provided the opportunity for the Southwest members of the House of Chiefs and Southwest Chiefs Conference to discuss and renew the pact that they have with President Paul Biya.
The occasion provided us the opportunity to be able to tell the Secretary General some of the issues which have created the pact that we have with President Paul Biya, but which we would also like for some improvement. And that's what we are taking back to the Southwest to meet the populations of our chiefdoms, to tell them the pact is sealed and delivered.
I've come here to renew our unwritten contract with the head of state. Since he became head of state, there is an unwritten contract that he is our person. Nothing has happened to change that stance. The chiefs will do everything in their power so that the Southwest is not a launch pad for violence before, during, and after the elections. As we go back, we'll do all in our power to transmit the message of goodwill and peace that we have received from the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic.
The audience also concluded with the traditional rulers offering ancestral blessings and symbolic gifts to the Minister of State, Secretary General of the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo, for onward transmission to the Head of State, Paul Biya. Also present at the audience was Philippe Mbarigamboa, Minister in charge of Special Duties, the Presidency, as well as Minister Muhammadu Mustafa, Deputy Secretary General number 2 of the Presidency.
And as you saw in that report, that delegation has renewed political ties with President Paul Biya ahead of the upcoming presidential elections. And out of Cameroon, global power blocs took center stage on Monday as Russian president joined a BRICS summit, while in Addis Ababa, African leaders demanded a shift from climate aid to climate investment for a bold green investment, as Jessica Ndiwum tells us in this report.
On Monday, Russian President Vladimir Putin participated in an extraordinary BRICS summit via video link, a virtual meeting convened by Brazil to address growing global concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping trade tariffs. According to the Kremlin, BRICS leaders discussed expanding cooperations in trade, finance, investment, and other areas, all while grappling with increasing volatility in the global economy. Trump's tariffs have shaken markets, strained alliances, and raised fears of inflation and slower growth. Nonetheless, he defends them as necessary, stating that the U.S. will be on the brink of economic catastrophe without them. Meanwhile, African leaders and climate activists have called for a radical shift in global climate financing, urging the world to treat Africa not as a victim of climate change, but as a strategic partner for investment. In Addis Ababa on Monday, dozens of heads of state and government representatives underscored the urgency of mobilizing resources to fund adaptation and renewable energy projects across the continent. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed opened the summit with a call to replace climate aid with climate investment, emphasizing that Africa's resilience and renewable energy potential offer immense opportunity. Ethiopia showcased its progress through projects like the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, set for inauguration on Tuesday, and its tree planting campaign, which has already seen the planting of 48 billion seedlings over the past 7 years.
And those details from across our borders takes us to the end of tonight's newscast. But before we go, a recap of our headlines. The Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, visited Sopekam and the National Printing Press this September 9, 2025 to inspect the production and packaging of electoral materials for the upcoming presidential elections. And students and pupils in Kambe and Donga Mantum Division resumed classes on September 8, 2025, marking the start of the school year. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your keen attention, and remain in the company of our programs as Claudia Nta comes up at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. Have a good evening.